What's up, everybody? T Wolves 2016 here, and I'm about to utter words I never thought I would hear come out of my mouth. At least not this season, maybe ever. Alexander Ovechkin is off to the third round of the playoffs. Not just that, they beat Pittsburgh on their way there. Now, this has been a moment true Caps fans have been waiting for so long. The last time Washington beat Pittsburgh in the playoffs was 1994. And the Winnipeg and Nashville game is on right now, so I'm kind of watching that while I'm doing this. But I had to do this in the moment. Watching the first period, I was nervous. There was a lot of good chances on both sides. There was a penalty aside, nothing happened out of it. And then after that, no penalties were called. The refs let the teams play, and I think that's perfectly fine. I think there's nothing wrong with letting the players play. And there are no egregious penalties, and I will get to one that I know we will be hearing about. But Nashville's winning 2-0. By the way, just they showed that on the screen. I did not expect this. Wow, I guess is the best way I can describe it. I'm a Hawks fan. I'm very upfront about that. I'm a Blackhawks fan. I have been since about 04, 05, probably 03, 04 at the absolute latest. But I've been a diehard fan since. But it's hard not to feel great for the Caps. And I know the Penguins are going to be all, the end is nigh, blah, 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 or act like they're the Vegas Golden Knights getting taken out in the conference finals or something. I'm not saying they will, but that might be a jinx. And if that is a jinx, I will apologize in advance to the Golden Knights. But either way, Pittsburgh fans, whenever the majority of them, or at least the ones that I know and have had personal interactions with, when they get eliminated from the playoffs, it's not their fault. The refs screwed them. The other team is getting away with dirty stuff. Again, like the refs are calling everything against them, and it's just again. But again, that's a video for a different day. We're here to talk about this guy right here, Alexander Ovechkin, the Great Eight, is moving on to the third round of the playoffs to play the Tampa Bay Lightning. Now, I think that the hockey guy definitely said it best. Tampa Bay can sweep Washington out of the playoffs in the conference finals on their way to the Stanley Cup finals. And Washington's still going to hold their heads high. I mean, it'll be upsetting and it'll be heartbreaking for their fans. But they beat Pittsburgh. In Pittsburgh. In the Alexander Ovechkin era. So many people did not think that would happen. Me included. I did not think Washington had what it took. I thought Pittsburgh was going to force a Game 7. I thought Pittsburgh was going to, force this, into a do-or-die situation. And once the game went to overtime, I could feel the tension. Like, I became so stiff the entire time. Like, I was rigid. I was moving as little as possible. And when they scored, as a fan of the game, when Washington scored, when not Kuznetsov. Yeah, it is. It's Kuznetsov. When Kuznetsov scored that goal from Ovi, I jumped out of my bed, which is where I'm at right now, actually. I jumped out of my bed, and I just could not stop smiling. Like, I'm just so happy for the Capitals, because Ovi deserves a cup. Ovi, I will say that till the end of time. If he doesn't get a cup, he will be the greatest player in history to never win a cup. But I just think that this is great. I think Washington finally has the burden of hearing all these Pittsburgh fans, not even just Pittsburgh fans, the entire league, talk about how they cannot beat Pittsburgh. They cannot do this. They cannot do that. They beat Pittsburgh in overtime. You know, and just as someone who enjoys watching people enjoy the game, which is why, you know, I enjoy watching the Hawks, I enjoy watching the Predators, I enjoy watching a lot of the teams. Every team I watch and cheer for is in part because the players look like they enjoy the game. The players look like they genuinely enjoy playing. And the smiles that were on the Capitals' faces are priceless. Like, Alexander Ovechkin especially. The smile that was on his face was... You could see it. He said it after they beat Columbus. They were ready for Pittsburgh. And everyone else, for the last week or so, has been saying, you can't do it. Can't do it. See, 6 games. That's about 12 days from the start of one game because you get every day off, right? Almost for, you know, about a week and a half to 2 weeks, Washington was kept hearing from everybody in the entire country that they weren't going to win. They can't beat Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is their Achilles heel. Every time they face Pittsburgh, they end up losing. And albeit there's some truth to that, Washington has to feel like this is a mountain load of pressure off their back. Like, this was the one thing. This is like the Cubs breaking the curse big, but it's the Capitals breaking the curse of the Penguins big. They did it, you know. In some instances, and I know this is a bit of a stretch, but to some regards, this is the Capitals' Cup right here. They took the chance of a three-peat away from Pittsburgh on Pittsburgh's home ice in overtime. I didn't think it would happen. I thought we were going to a Game 7 when it went to overtime. I thought, oh my God, they're gonna blow it. They're gonna blow it, because as someone who's been rooting for the Capitals in the playoffs for so long, because I want to see Alexander Ovechkin get a cup. One of, if not the greatest player in the league right now. I keep rooting. I'm like, they can do it. They can do it. They can do it. And they keep running into Pittsburgh. And I'm like, no. And then they lose. And I'm just sitting here like, you go through a lot of emotions rooting for the underdog. And what I really like about this year's playoffs, is my favorite team is not in it. The Chicago Blackhawks missed the playoffs this year. And that's okay with me. We weren't playing like we deserved it. And had we gotten in, we would have just gotten swept in the first round like we did last year. So I'm actually kind of glad we're the 8th overall pick in the draft. Not horrible. Definitely not horrible. We're getting a top 10 pick. This is the first time since we drafted Kane we've gotten a top 10 pick. Because we've just been good after that. But either way, just rooting for the underdog always will leave you heartbroken more often than it will leave you feeling like this. But it's the moments that feel like this that make it all worth it. The Capitals are going on to play the Lightning, and everyone's like, the Lightning are going to tear them apart. Even I mentioned how the Lightning are probably going to tear them apart earlier in this very video. But no one expected them to beat Pittsburgh either, and look what they did. Anything can happen in the playoffs, and it's hard to describe. It really is, because it's hard to, like, I have not been this happy, genuinely happy for a team since I watched the Hawks win it in 2015. I haven't, you know, watching this team, like, and even as a fan watching this, who's not even a full-on Capitals fan, but I root for Ovi, and through Ovi the Capitals, but I'm not even a real Caps fan, and I felt the weight lifted off of the Capitals' back. I felt it, you know. I felt the Capitals win this game. As soon as they won it, I was overcome. I was like, no way. I do want to talk about one thing. Everyone is looking at that play, and I know I've heard a lot of Pittsburgh fans talking about the play. I believe it was in overtime. It may have been late in the third period when a Capital player went into Murray, and they said there should have been goaltender interference. He was the Capitals player was charging the net hard. He was, I believe it was Carlson, but he was charging the net hard. But the Pittsburgh Penguin player who was right there gave him a hip check and changed his trajectory from going this way to going straight on at Murray, and he just ran into Murray. It's not a dirty play. You know, I'm glad they didn't call a penalty on that because that wasn't a penalty. And, you know, and now Washington's on to the third round. That'll be it for this video. I'm in such a good mood right now. And I do try to root for all 31 teams. I will try to talk about all the different teams, all their different fan bases. And I'll go through my likes and dislikes of each team individually, and I'll put that all in a playlist so you can watch why I like and don't like your specific favorite team. And I might even do it in an order of the teams I root for the least going up to the teams I root for the most. But it's so cool to see this, and it's so cool to see the emotion on Ovi's face when he finally beat Pittsburgh. So that being said, thank you for watching this video, however you came across it. You know, I hope you have a very, very great day, night, evening, morning, whenever you're watching this. And happy playoffs. Peace.